Hey guys, Kevin Downey from Kevin M. Downey. Thanks so much for taking the time. Really appreciate it. In this video, I want to walk through one of our knowledge base pieces. Is actually the title of it is called The Ultimate Sales and Business Development Guide for B2B Owners. If you're a knowledge base, it's free access, no problem. But what I want to talk about today is kind of walk through when I work with clients, hiring and managing sales and business development reps for your B2B company. What is it that you should be hiring for? I'm going to kind of spend more time on what you should do rather than what you shouldn't, because I talk about those kinds of things a little bit more in other videos and on some podcasts. But first, let's just go step by step here on some stuff. Why is hiring sales and business development reps such a challenge for B2B companies? Companies overvalue industry experience, which can work as a negative more than a positive. A lot of companies struggle to build a process or training, especially on the business development side, which is what we do as an agency. We then can build you a prospect list, and I also do one-on-one rep training. Most of the training I do is on business development of owners and even sales team executives. You've got to build reps a process, right? So we see that missing from a lot of hiring. So what do we see as the biggest challenge for B2B in hiring is hiring the wrong kind of people for the job that you need done, right? And I'll talk about that when we talk about Aptive Index and assessment, right? But also customer base is relationship based, so that's kind of silly. Industry experience in the sales hiring, network, and book of business. I talk about this at length. All of this is highly overrated stuff. At the end of the day, I've seen all kinds of reps with specific industry experience come in, just numbers through the nines, had this massive customer base. They got a network, and then they go out and they get a few low-hanging fruit from their network, right? They get stuff early, and then it's all done. It all stops. Needle stops moving. Why? Because they don't want to prospect. They don't think it's part of what they should do. They already have industry experience. They already are known in the industry, let's say. Well, if they were that known and they had that big of a network, they wouldn't be looking for a job in the first place, right? They could make one phone call to a competitor and they could land a job and get a raise probably, right? So for your company, if you're not going out and paying someone more money to move from company A to your company, then who are you hiring? And why is their experience and network so valuable? Again, if it really was, they wouldn't be talking to you at that point, being blunt. They would be able to make one phone call to one of the larger competitors and get a raise and get a job. So their network can't be that deep and their book of business can't be that big. And even if it were, then the downside is they don't want to prospect. All they're going to do is reach out to their network. They'll make a few quick sales and then everything shuts down. This is why it is so hard for companies, because they value all the wrong things and they use resume as the baseline for screening people. And it's just the wrong way to go about it, right? 4 top criteria when hiring for sales. Aptive Index assessment. Ain't legally, but that's what I want to know, because they don't want to recruit somebody who needs to make way more money than our salary is going to give. Because at the end of the day, things always take longer than we expect. They're not going to get commission or bonus or anything for a period of time. And so I want to know that what they can pay their bills with what we're offering, right? So I need to know from them, what do they need to make so they can stop looking for a job? That compensation match is hugely important. I consider it the number 2 criteria in sales hiring now, okay? Number 3 for me, did the candidate do their homework? Did they look up your company? Did they look you up on LinkedIn? Did they read any articles about your company? I mean, do I expect it for every single application they do? No. But do I expect it when they've got an interview coming up? Absolutely. So if they come into the interview and they are completely ignorant of your organization, your company, your history, your background, okay, then that shows, okay, we want to show if they do all those things, it shows work ethic, interest, conscientiousness, courtesy, right? That's what we're looking for. Big egos that come in with all kinds of experience in your industry and they don't do any homework because they think they're special. Sorry, not interested. Go. You can go somewhere else. Okay. Number 4, sales or business development experience. Not for the reason you think. Not necessarily sales experience in an industry, right? In a specific industry or your industry. It's not what we're looking for. What we're looking is sales or business development experience, especially if they have to do business development, because we have to know that they know what they're in for. This is what prospecting is. This is what the grind of that job is. You need to know coming in what that is. If you do not have that experience that you can outsource to that actually is going to be productive, they do exist. There's not many. A couple US firms I've come across have done a good job, and I've been referred to them to talk to them because I always like to know who's out there and who does what. I have found a couple. They're probably for bigger mid-market and enterprise companies to engage because they start at 10,000. They go from $10,000 a month for a single rep to 12 to 15,000 a month bare minimum, right? Small business, smaller mid-market companies, that's not going to fly, right? And otherwise, most every company fails because the reps don't work for you. They work for the outsourcing agency, the BPO. You need them to work for you. They need to work for you. They need to be responding to you, or someone in your organization needs to be holding them to task, okay? What do you do if you have a limited budget for sales or business development hiring? Latin America, hands down. We recruit Latin America every day, 48 countries, great talent. Kids that have come to college here, gone back home. They've worked here for a while. Many have online degrees with U.S. universities. Almost all of the kids that come from a little better off homes, their parents had them speaking English when they were toddlers. Their English is impeccable. They work very hard, and their cost of living is so much lower. So your base comp is for BDR, say in Latin America, you're talking 1,000, 1,500 a month base, maybe in Mexico up to 2,000, but very, very reasonable base compensations. Okay. If you want to source candidates, visit our website, kevinmdowney.com. We can obviously help you on a number of different levels. A lot of good information here on our website. Okay. Importance of using Aptive Index. A third salespeople, and the salespeople didn't move the needle, or they went out to their network because they have industry experience, and they went to their former book of business, or whatever. They got a few low-hanging fruit, and then everything shuts down. Nothing else is happening. Why? Because they're not built for prospecting. They don't want to do prospecting. Hire people that are built for the job. How do you do that? Aptive Index assessment. It's measuring cognitive psychology attributes. These are the attributes, if you're not familiar, definitively. It's a training document for Aptive fundamental needs. So cognitive attributes are the fundamental needs and motivations to drive decisions and actions, or actions and decisions for this purpose. Okay. It tells you the way people are built and what they are energized, what they are wired to do, what they want to do, the needs they have to fill. So let's use B2B as an example, because we have a whole bunch of sales profiles that we build our client jobs off of. SDR and one call closer we'll ignore for now, but that's a B2C position, and SDR could be B2B or B2C, but this is just purely inbound leads. But let's talk about the most common things we deal with in B2B. Farmer sales reps, hunter sales reps, and BDRs. I need to see that the person's built for the job that I'm trying to fill. If I need leads and appointments for me or my sales team, I need a BDR. I don't need another sales rep. Sales rep's not built for that. They don't want to do it. All right? This is why we have such a failing in hiring in the United States. We're hiring off a resume, qualifying off a resume, because we look at experience, which is one of the worst predictors of success, right, of future performance. It's one of the worst predictors of future performance. Let me make sure that's clear. On the whole a day, they got to be built to do that. High C, decent S. Cold outreach, nonstop, like a machine. Energizer bunny. This guy right here, right? Our BDR, SDR BDR. Leo. Never hire Leo as a sales rep. Not a chance. BDR, SDR, like a machine. Energizer bunny. 1 to 2 appointments a day like clockwork. Why? Because he's built for it. He can shake off people getting mad at him or hanging up on him or saying no, or he going to voicemail 20 times in a row. His intensity is low enough that he can maintain that consistency day after day after day. If he's super intense, he's going to burn out. Sociability could be a little bit higher. He's got great attention to detail, but our biggest concern is consistency. Built for doing it 50 to 100 times a day or more. That's what we want. That's not what this person is built to do. They want to sell. Hunter sales reps, high influence, high intensity. They want to sell. They want to close. They want to have authority. They want to drive the bus. And that's what you want in a closer. This is a sales rep. This is a B2B sales professional that has no ongoing relationship with the customer. Sales relationship. Okay? They're not a farmer. They're a hunter. They go out and get customers. Somebody else takes care of the fulfillment, whatever it is. Right? That's a hunter sales rep. They don't talk to the customer on a regular basis. They don't need to. Maybe once a year. High influence, high intensity. I want somebody that's going to, get customers and then work with them and sell to them and cross-sell to them and all that stuff. Now I need a farmer. That's high sociability. Influence, consistency, right? Intensity a little lower. I want high sociability. They need to have connection with people. They don't need to have influence as much. They need to leave off. Oh, sorry. Importance of using Aptive Index assessment or comparable. That's where I left off. Okay. All right. So for hiring, that's so important. So important. Okay. Setting the table for your new rep with process training and clear expectations. This is especially true not just for sales, but business development side of sales, right? Like you got to tell them, you got to build them a process. If you think hiring a rep that's experienced and they're going to know how to do cold outreach, I have enough experience in doing this over 10 years that I can tell you that's not going to happen. They need a process to follow. You got to build them a process. We do it for our clients as part of our recruiting gigs, but you need to build them a process. You need to train them on that process. You need to train them on your products and services, your sales team, structure and all that stuff, right? And then you've got to give them clear expectations. Okay, very important. Tools required for a rep when you're hiring. They got to have phone, email address, prospect list in B2B. Here's a link to Apollo. That's what we use. I think it's the best product on the market for the money. And then they've got to have a CRM or comparable for tracking, not a CRM for emailing. You can automate email. I don't need reps to play around on a CRM. I don't need reps to do that. I don't need reps to flit around on LinkedIn either, right? As a last ditch effort, I talk about this in business development, right? Following up and when to use email and LinkedIn, sure, it comes into play, but it's way overrated because we have let these sales reps in the United States and even BDRs think that it's an admin job. It's a CRM and LinkedIn job. It's not. It's not an email and LinkedIn job. It's either boots on the ground or a phone job. That's it. Right? So at the end of the day, tracking a rep comes down to, are they asking questions? They're talking to people. They're going to come back with questions to you, a sales leader or a sales team member. Like if they're coming in with questions all the time, that means they're making headway. That means they're doing their job. Just making calls for the sake of making calls doesn't cut it, although that's better than not making calls. But at the end of the day, you track by having conversations with them on a regular basis where you're answering questions and educating them and they're finding out more information. Or I've got this lead that has this question. And that's how you know they're working. And that's how you track them. Okay. All right. And expectations in managing your rep, right? Business development in 2026 is in post-COVID, but even before COVID, it was getting harder. That's a grind. It's a hard job. That's why we need to hire dedicated people for it so often now. You've got to set realistic and clear expectations, okay? And then manage them accordingly. Manage the rep accordingly. You've got to work with them to keep them pumped up, but also educated and moving forward and getting better day after day after day, whether it's prospecting or sales or whatever it is. You've got to keep moving forward with your rep. Regular communication. Don't just throw them out there and say, go get it, and never talk to them. Like that results in a lot of negative feelings or feeling of isolation. And that's when they shut down a lot of times, right? So clear ongoing communication with the rep and realistic expectations, right? They're not going to move a mountain in a day. Okay. So hopefully that helped you. If you have any questions, you want access to this knowledge base, hiring and managing sales and business development reps for your B2B company. And then, of course, if you want access to this whole thing, sales and business development guide for B2B